This week in VCT, Mazino had some serious allegations against him. Gen.G are now out of champs, and Pacific has now moved their location. So now let's actually now talk about the Mazino allegations. Basically, it first actually came out from a player named Siles, who is the ex-girlfriend of Mazino, and has basically accused him of mental abuse and physical abuse as well. Now there were obviously some pretty big evidence. I guess we're gonna say, basically saying, quote, Mazino abused me psychologically, physically, and verbally, as confirmed by a complaint and a psychologist. And she also said that there was fights every day without stopping, with blows in the walls, hitting everything that crossed your path, endless screams and grabs, and also grabs her arm and left marks on her. Like a quote, like you did that time just because you didn't want me to see a zing that you asked a girl for. I don't know what a zing is, but either way. And then continuing the quote, that you were afraid I would show that I would show your mom how you left my arms, and this was happening in your own home with the whole family there. Mazzino did respond to the allegations as well, basically saying that it was a very complicated situation between both of them, but it didn't reach to physical abuse, and he hasn't as well been reflective of any complaints at all. Lev did release a statement basically saying that they are aware of the situation and will take appropriate measures. However, there was something else I think about this whole allegations as well that came out, I think, right after Sayas posted this, which comes from a Twitter account by the name of Scoutian. I do apologize if I do mispronounce her name, but basically, she basically says that she met up with Mazino a couple of times this year, but there was one specific time where he said he'll give me a jersey of his. I drove about an hour and a half, basically just to get the jersey, wait for him in the media. And right off the bat was kind of flirty and said he didn't have the jersey. I told him I didn't want to do anything because I was sick at the time. And after saying no multiple times, he kind of still was being touchy and telling me everything is okay. So eventually, after an hour, I fell in. Afterwards, I felt so disgusted. Apparently, as well, she didn't know that Mazzino actually had a girlfriend then. So it's this whole allegation stuff as well. I will leave a link to the article and as well to the Twitter post down in the description below so you can read it for yourself. But these are some pretty serious allegations. And considering that Leviathan will be roasting Team Vitality later today, I'm not too sure what's really gonna be happening with Mizzino, but hopefully it won't really affect Lev that much. If so, I am a bit worried for this team. But we'll see what the announcement comes out of from Leviathan, but I expect it to not be so pretty. Other big news, which includes the Pacific Ascension tournament, has now moved from Tokyo now to Jakarta, Indonesia. Now, there has been some stuff for why they have moved it. I think the main reason is visa. I think it's very difficult, I'm pretty sure, to actually get like a visa in Tokyo. And considering that they went to Thailand last year for Ascension and there wasn't need for any visas, I'm guessing they went to Jakarta just for the same thing because there's no visa issues, or it's easier to get a visa. So I guess, I mean, it does suck that we're not going to Tokyo because I know everyone was very excited that Riot was going to go back to Tokyo for Ascension, but but obviously if they don't want to have any visa problems with any other players, then I can kind of understand this, I'll be honest. Like, it does suck, obviously, but I can understand why they swapped just because of visa issues, or like potential visa issues, I just say, which could be the advocate of it. So I'm glad that they did change it, but it is still very disappointing, I'll be honest, for the Japanese fans to possibly as well see Riddle play in front of the whole crowd. But now it has now moved to Jakarta, Indonesia. Boom Esports now going to be the fan favorite. So we'll see how that goes. But obviously, I can understand the disappointment of everyone's faces really when this was announced. Team Falcon suspended before the EMEA Ascension tournament, which really came out of the blue. I think there have been like possible reasons of why this happened. Some people said it's because of something happened with League of Legends where they kind of just outed like Team Falcons or something. Some people also said as well because Riot focus more on China than Saudi Arabia. I'm not too sure. I'll be honest. It could be any of those reasons, or it could be something completely else. I'll be honest. But it does end with a happy story, or happy ending, I should say, that another org, the Ultimate, did pick them up. However, one of the players did not join, and both coaches have also not joined as well. So I think they've left with like Khaled, Spy, Mo, and I can't remember who the other player is. I think the player who left, I think was Askia, I believe, or might maybe mispronouncing the name, but I've never ever seen this before where an org basically disbands or leaves the scene before an Ascension tournament or like a master tournament, which could possibly maybe guarantee them to be in tier one. So it's a weird situation there as well with Team Falcons. I'm not too sure if they will be coming back to Valorant. I don't think so, but I'll be very surprised if they do come back after all this, after this whole bloodbath has really been happening here. But we'll see how they go, and we'll see if the Ultimates does pick up on, like, obviously, I mean, they do have to pick up another player because they only have 4 players. And who are the coaches going to be? Not too sure because they basically got rid of the old roster that's added the Team Falcons roster in. So, but we'll see how they go. I'm just glad that the team did find a home, a new org, to compete under for Ascension. Now for some roster changes. Mike's first has left the 100 Thieves as the coach. He was the assistant coach for this team. I think he joined sometime, I think last year, I believe, or 2022, I believe. But obviously, I might be wrong. I mean, he has been an integral part of 100 Thieves' success for quite a bit. So it does suck that he has to leave the team, but hopefully he does find a new home because I think he's a very, very good coach in my opinion. I mean, he's coached his team for quite a long time now, so it will be a bit weird for him to not be, in 100 Thieves, but I do think he might maybe find a home, maybe with EG, maybe with NRG even. Not really too sure. I mean, hell, because I mean, how NRG they're looking out for a new coach because now that Shet has left, so he could maybe, possibly, maybe go to NRG, but I think the rumors are Potter might be going there. But we'll see where Mike's goes. Hopefully, he does come back to tier one. Announced recently, Vanity is now on the bench of Cloud9. C9 did put up a statement basically saying, I think at start until the 5th of October 2024, something he'll be a free agent. So I guess that's probably when his contract ends. I mean, Vanity, he was alright for Cloud9 this year, and I'm quite surprised that they have kicked them out. I think the rumor is that Mitch will be coming back to Cloud9. I don't know what is with these changes of Cloud9. They picking up players that used to play for this team. I don't know what's been happening there, but I'm pretty sure the rumor is that Mitch will be going there, but I might be wrong. But for Vanity, I don't know if he could really go anywhere. I think maybe the best option is maybe for him maybe to go back to tier two. Could he maybe go to, I don't know, maybe Moist X Shopify? Could he maybe go to the M8 or M80 or TSM if they don't make it, or if it's Dark Zero Esports? Could he maybe even go to maybe EG or something? I mean, because we don't know, we have no idea what the roster will be looking like for EG. I'll be honest, it's completely out of the blue. I'm not really too sure where else he could go. He could maybe go to EMEA. He could maybe even go to Pacific. Maybe not to China, but I'm not too sure because I mean, Vante, he is a popular player in the Valorant scene. He has been in tier one for quite a while now, so but we'll see where he goes. But I'm not too sure if he will be returning to tier one. I'll be honest. For the final one now for Americas is Pio, who has left Loud as their head coach. Now, I was a bit skeptical when Pio did join this team, as he did coach the Union, but now that they have basically Gonzo, I was a bit skeptical, to be fair, but also the Union was the best team in Brazil at the time, so it kind of does make sense. But who could you really replace Pio with and Loud, which are supposed to be the best team in Brazil? Both, I mean, all 3 Brazilian teams flopped this year. So who could you really go? I'm not too sure, I'll be honest. I don't really know the Brazilian scene that well to really think of some candidates. I mean, if Bazooka's available, possibly you can maybe bring him back. Um, but I don't know. I mean, it's such a, it's I just don't know who you could even put, like, who could you put as a head coach for Loud? Because you're supposed to be, like the face of Brazil. You're supposed to be competing for trophies, for player positions, for master positions as well. And I mean, they only went to Madrid and they were kind of disappointing there. And this whole season was just a disappointment for Loud as a whole. So I'll be interested to see of who they do pick up. If they maybe pick up maybe someone from Latin America, possibly that could maybe happen. But I'm not really too sure. And the final Porto news is JD Gaming, as they have announced that Annex has left the team. And I'm a bit surprised about that. I mean, I thought they would have maybe kept maybe the coaching staff, maybe shuffle some players around and keep Annex because I mean he was a very integral part of this team's almost comeback, I guess we'll say, to possibly make it the champs, but that obviously didn't happen sadly. I mean, Annex he is. I can't remember what teams he's been a part of. I think he has been in like top Korean teams, I believe. So I guess he could maybe go back to South Korea. He could maybe coach as well. Maybe like a DR, maybe not really DR, maybe T1, possibly. You could maybe help out T1, maybe. That's definitely a big possibility. But, I mean, where else could you really go if you annex? Maybe the best option is maybe go back to Tier 2 to maybe see if you can maybe get picked up there. But I'm not really too sure. But I'm still very surprised that JD Gaming had basically let go of Annex. I thought he was a very integral part of this team. But I guess not for JD Gaming's management. I guess maybe they want a Chinese coach, but I'm not too sure. But I'm still very surprised that he has left the team. Let's now talk about champs. First up with America's Crew Esports. They have been eliminated from champs after their loss to Fnatic. They did win against Billy Gaming. He was MVP in that game, while Keza was MVP against Fnatic. And all in all, I mean, Crew, they were very good against Billy Gaming. I was very impressed with them. Against Fnatic, it was looking good at the very start on Sunset. And then they choked on the second map, and they were just nowhere in the third map. So I'm disappointed, I guess you could say, maybe on Crew of possibly not making it to playoffs because they are a very much of an underdog team that can get massive wins off these teams like Fnatic, like they did in 2021. But I guess history won't repeat itself, and Crew will be going home from chance, which is disappointing because I thought that because I still think they are a very good team. But we'll but yeah, I'm more interested. I'll be honest on the roster changes. I don't think there's any rumors around of who could maybe join Crew, but we'll see. We'll see. Sentinels have somehow kept their season alive after the wins against FunPlus Phoenix and Gen.G. Zakan was MVP on both of them. And what a run Sentinels had. I mean, the FPX game was really good for Sentinels. Gen.G, my God, they dismantled Gen.G. It was amazing to watch. I mean the FPX game, if I can remember, was pretty close. I think it was a 2-1, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. But the Gen.G one was just a clean sweep 2-0. I mean, they just read Gen.G perfectly, Sentinel 6. And now they've actually will be getting their best finish in champs after 2021, where they were grouped in by Crew Esports, ironically. So now that they're now in the playoffs for the first time in the organization's in New York's history, could they now be the new favorites of winning champs? There's definitely a possibility if they do keep playing like that, but consistency is key, and we know how good some of these other teams are. G2 Esports, as they played 2 games against PaperX and EDG and won both of them. Leaf was MVP against PRX, while Valorant was MVP against EDG. They have qualified to the playoffs as well as the first seed, so they just get to sit up and relax now. But G2, this is looking really good so far right now for G2 Esports. I expect them to do well, and they are doing well. So they will continue to be contenders. I think, if definitely in my opinion, they will be contenders to win champs just because of how well they have I mean, the synergy that this team has is amazing. Like, it's maybe one of the best synergies I've ever seen in my life. Or I should say, out of all the teams, definitely G2's up there as regarding synergy. But just because, I mean, these players have played with each other for a while, mainly Valen, Trent, and Jonah P ever since 2022. So it has been a while, I'll be honest. Since like Valorant, Trent, or Journey P have been in different teams. So I expect possibly G2 to maybe make it maybe to top four, in my opinion, in playoffs. But obviously, just because of the amount of upsets we've seen in champs lately, I could maybe be very, very wrong there. Leviathan got fooled around by Trace Esports. Aspas was MVP, and this has reminded me a lot of Shanghai Leviathan. I mean, the first couple matches was actually all right, but I mean, it was a very, very close game to be fair. I mean, went to overtime. I think once, I'm pretty sure, and I think both maps were 13-11s, I believe. So it wasn't that bad. It was just really it could have been anyone's game. It could have been Lev's game, just because of how play close it was. But traits, they just had better ideas, and better players as well. Just because, I mean, Aspas, he was maybe a lone standout. I mean, King was also really good as well. Um, Mazino was kind of shaky. Tex was shaky. Com had some decent moments, but it's not really like Lev, as in Sage 2 Lev, I guess we can say. It's not really that type of team now. They're kind of struggling against some of these teams. I mean, Talon, I'm pretty sure Talon was like an absolute like cakewalk. That was great for Talon. So sorry for Leviathan, but for this one, just because Trace has had like such like a unique play style, it was so difficult for Leviathan to actually just get a read on them. So yeah, well, they will be roasting Vitality, but as well with the Mazino allegations, we'll see what they do with that. Moving now to China first up with Billy Game, as they have been eliminated now from champs. YZ was MVP after their loss against Crew. And this is not the Billy game, and I was expecting to see. I mean, I thought they were going to take maps off teams, but I mean, they just struggled. That's all. That's all they really did. I mean, Neff had some good moments. YZ was just a standalone amazing player for Billy Gaming, but oh no, everyone else was kind of just nowhere. I mean, Kanite wasn't there, Flaxen wasn't there. Who was the other player? I can't remember the name of. Yikes. But either way, I mean, there weren't really anyone else there really. Like it kind of looked like Wisey was doing all the work and creating all the space well for his team, and found out that they didn't really follow up on that, and it just wasn't looking the best for Billy Gaming. I do hope that they do bounce back next year, but I'm not too sure what the changes are going to be looking like. I've seen the contracts as well, when it theoretically I think everyone should be staying except for maybe Ballet, I believe. But we'll see what the changes Billy Gaming makes. But this is a pretty disappointing result from them compared to last year, but it's kind of where everyone really expected them to be. Trace Esports, I was not familiar with your game. I'm so sorry. My God, Trace Esports, they have took the heart of everyone. I mean, like I tweeted out, I mean the similarity between this team and Billy Gaming is that both teams had Bianc in the lineup, and guess what? Bianc is now a Trace, and he's fucked everyone's pick'ems, which is the funniest thing ever. So I guess if Bianc is in a team, expect them to qualify the playoffs because it's going to happen again. To be fair though, Heibei was phenomenal. Kai exceptionally phenomenal. So I mean, oh no, Trace. Everyone who Trace it really was amazing. I mean, like Fang, amazing. Looking, amazing. So there's no like bad things I can really say about the team. All in all, it was just amazing to watch his team succeed and thrive. I should say thrive with their success. So it's a great showing from this team. I'm really, really impressed with Trace Esports. we'll see how they go in the playoffs. I mean, there's definitely some good teams that Trace should be looking out for, but this team could probably go pretty deep in playoffs. A team I was expecting a bit more was Fun Plus Phoenix, as they did lose against Sentinels. Autumn was MVP, but to be fair to FPX, this group was the death group. I mean, anyone could have gone home. I mean, hell, we're going to talk about Gen.G soon, and they also went home. So, all in all, I mean, Autumn, he maybe played his best like 2 games, like this game and the Team Heretics game. Those are maybe like his best games I've seen from him. So I hope that Auden does say. I think he's in a 1 year deal, so 2025. So next year will be his last deal with FPX. Hopefully he does stay around because I mean I love this team. This team is great, and there's definitely a new fresh of players as well for the team to even compete against like EDG, Trace now, which are now looking like the best team in China if EDG doesn't make it against Paper Rights. But I mean, we'll see how that goes. But for FPX, it was still a pretty good season from them. It's just disappointing that it ended out this way. Edward Gaming did play 2 games in this week against Foot and G2. They lost against G2 but won against Foot. Smoogie was MVP against Foot, while Simon was MVP against G2. Yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, even if Simon is out in this roster and nobody's the IGL, it's still looking really, really good for this team. I mean, Hal Dong's what the coach is great. I quite like that as well. So with now this team a bit more structured now, nobody as the IGL is looking pretty good for EDG, and they kind of still look the same as they did when Hal Dong was the IGL. So it's looking good so far. Simon had a great moment as well against G2, and I mean, it was definitely Simon's best game because he has been pretty quiet so far. This year had some flashes of brilliance, but wasn't really consistent in a game. But the G2 game was very good for them. Even if they did lost that game, Simon was still really good. But it's still a good showing there from EDG. But they're gonna be versing Paper X again, and we know how crazy that matchup will be. But could EDG maybe pull it off and maybe have 2 Chinese teams in the playoffs again? EMEA Vitality, as they did win against Talon Esports. Kix was MVP, and this is once again a bounce back from their tragic loss against Trace Esports. And like I said as well in my last episode, that was not an upset. I refuse to say that was an upset, just because I know Trace is a dark horse, Vitality is also dark horse. I mean, 2 dark horses going up against each other could be anyone's game. But for the Talon one, Vitality should have been favored, and they were favored. So thank God nothing bad happened to to Vitality in that one. Whew, thank God. Kixie MVP is a great showing there from him. This team has been a bit shaky, but to be fair, we've only seen 2 games from them. They're now going to be versing Leviathan because depending on the situation with Mazino, they could maybe win that game as well. But I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, this team is definitely built around safe. And ever since they done the role swap as well from safe on duelist and runner now on the sentinel role, they look a lot better now. And now with kicks popping off now against Helen Esports is now looking really good for this team. Now these young players are now thriving in their positions as they want. That is looking good so far right now for Vitality. Maybe not so far for Foot Esports, as they have been eliminated from champs contention against EDG and Paper Rex. J was MVP. Damn, this was just depressing for Foot Esports. I completely forgot that Foot Esports was even in champs. Like, they were that irrelevant. I completely forgot. So yeah, it was just like this team was just so quiet. Like there was nothing from this team. There was no life at all, and they just looked lost. Like CNED wasn't doing CNED stuff. Ada Captain wasn't holding down sights properly. Cracks was just being average. Mr. Fallen looking like an average IGL. J, he was maybe a lone star of this, but it still doesn't really mean that this team is still good. I mean, well, this team is still good, yeah, but for this performance against EDG and Paper Rex, it's very, very disappointing from this team. I'm not too sure what the change is going to be for this team will be, but it's so, so disappointing from Foot Esports. Team Heretics and I have now qualified to playoffs after their win against Gen.G. Boo was MVP, and my god, Boo. My god, this was his best game of his entire career, in my opinion. It was amazing to watch him just doing constant clutches, helping out even his younger brother Mini Boo. It was really it was amazing to watch. I'll be honest, it was amazing to watch Boo just so calm and collected, doing these amazing plays for this team. It's amazing. So Boo should definitely pat himself on the back after that. But all in all, this team, I mean, it's kind of where I expect them to be contenders, champs contenders, and to possibly as well win this tournament, like they almost did in Shanghai, but just narrowly lost it. Could they maybe win again in champs? Definitely. I think there's definitely a chance for that. But I mean, with the teams that are going to champ, like are in the playoffs, like G2, um, Sentinels possibly, but they did beat. I don't think they beat Sentinels at all. Yeah, so maybe Sentinels. Um, maybe Trace as well. Fnatic, as we will be talking about soon. Those teams could maybe pose a bit of a challenge to Heretics. And speaking of Fnatic, they did play 2 games against DRX and Crew to qualify to the playoffs. DRX, they did lose that game, but they did win against Crew. Althea was MVP against DRX, while Durka was MVP against Crew. That DRX game was definitely a wake-up call for this team. I mean, damn. I mean, DRX, to be fair to them, as I will be talking a bit more about them, they look so good in that game. Fnatic, on the other hand, they looked really sloppy. Like, Chronicle wasn't really there. Hero wasn't there as well. Bosa was kind of nowhere as well. Althea was maybe a lone star and shine as well there. But the crew would definitely turn around. I mean, Chronicle, constant 4Ks, constantly. Hero making some good plays as well. Durka was doing Durka stuff. Althea did struggle in the first map, which kind of sucks, but he definitely turned it up in the final 2 maps. And Boaster, he had some good moments as well in the Operate on Haven. So it was a good showing there for Fnatic. They definitely are they aren't looking like 2023 Fnatic to be fair, but they're still are looking like top 4 grand final contenders. Moving now to Pacific, and first over Talon Esports, they have been eliminated now from champs after their loss against Vitality. Primey was MVP, and this is kind of where I expected them, I'll be honest. I mean, no one really had Talon that high, I'll be honest. Maybe I did, I'll be honest. I think I had them in B tier, I believe, which was so stupid of me. But either way, it's kind of where I expected them to be. I mean, Primey, or I should say Primy, had some great moments against Vitality, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, Governor should maybe turned on a bit. Bam should maybe turned on as well. Jet Boys was kind of there, but was mainly just not there in Cruise. I mean, he's the IGL, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But at least we know how good Primy can be. I mean, he can flex into Jet, and then he can go to Clove for some reason, and then he can go, I don't know, that KO or something. I can't remember what other characters he plays right now, but I mean, it's a good showing from Talon and Jams, but it's still not the best, I'll be honest, for this team. DRX definitely proved me wrong here as they did qualify into playoffs after the win against Fnatic. A Buzz was MVP. And I guess mainly Foxy 9 was causing a bit of havoc on this team on Lotus with the chamber. Definitely helped the DRX to cross that line. And I mean, it was a great showing from this team as well. I mean, Flashback and Bayan and Foxy 9 have looked like they have been playing in front of the home crowd for a while now. And obviously they have. So that does make sense. But I just thought that the pressure will come down to that. But I mean, to be fair, they have proved me wrong, which is a really good sign for DRX. And hell, they could maybe be top 4 contenders, possibly. I don't know about grand finals, but top 4 definitely up there if they continue to play like this. I mean, but to be fair, everyone kind of needs to be on it. But Marco, he's been a great IGL for this team, continuing to do well. As well the three rookies. Well, I should say two rookies are Bane and Flashback have been looking really good. Fox Knight has had some decent moments as well, so is good so far for Diorax. Paper X, they played 2 games against G2 and Foot. They won against Foot, but then lost against G2. Mindfreak was MVP against G2, or Jing was MVP against Foot. And yeah, I mean, I kind of expected. I was not expecting Paper X to struggle as much. I'll be honest. The EDG games can be interesting to see how they go against a team which are basically very, very similar to them. But it's a bit of a new look for EDG, so we'll see how that goes. But for Paperworks as a whole and Champs, it's been a bit disappointing. I kind of expected them to be competitive against G2. They kind of weren't. Foot was just nowhere, so I'm glad that they did win against that one. But the EDG one, that's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be an interesting watch, just because of I mean, how similar these two teams are in play style. So it's we'll see how that goes. But for Paper X as a whole, like for like so far, it's just been alright showing. I don't if they do qualify their playoffs, I won't expect them to be in the top 4 or in the grand final just of their state right now, just because of the other teams that are in the playoffs right now. But obviously, I could be wrong just because of the amount of upsets we've had. And the final one is Gen.G Esports. Wow. I mean, no one saw this team being grouped. I mean, there's a reason why it's called the Group of Death for a reason. They did lose against Team Heretics and Sentinels. And Media was MVP against Heretics, while Texture was MVP against Sentinels. At least we can walk away that Texture finally got his ace. That is all we can say. So we don't have to say Texture with the 4. We can now say Texture now with a 5. So that's good. But it doesn't change the fact that they were absolutely manhandled by Sentinels. Sentinels just had their raid on them constantly, and Gen.G, they basically pulled the price on them. I mean, they struggled. Munchkin wasn't really lurking at all. Really, I swear, I did not see Munchkin at all lurking, which was definitely a bit of a surprise there. I've also seen there's been a lot of drama as well regarding Lakia. A lot of people want him kicked, but you guys need to remember he is an initiator, and initiators are mainly there to set up for the team. They're not really there to, just I guess like play or well, yes, play with the team, but to get some flashy kills and stuff. No, he's supposed to help his team go into a site, clear out corners. I don't know why people are flaming him so much. I'll be honest. I mean, I still respect him as a player. He is a veteran of this entire I should say of this game really, because I mean he has been in this game for a while now, ever since 2021. So I don't know why people are flaming Lakia so much, but I do hope Gen.G does bounce back because they are a very, very, very good team. And I mean, hell, they have shown it so much this year. Going to go to a grand final in every tournament that they have been a part of. I mean, they were in the grand final of the kickoff, Stage One, Madrid, Shanghai, Stage Two. Yes, they missed out on the most important grand final here in Champs, but it still doesn't change the fact that they have been a phenomenal team in this year. And that is it for this week in VCT. Now, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me, especially on this channel. Let me know what you think of the whole Mazino situation. Like, do you think he's going to get kicked, or do you think he's just going to be a-okay? But obviously, we'll see what really happens. I'll be honest. Maybe coming up to their game against Vitality. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time in the next one. Goodbye.